Iron Maiden's Run For Your Lives tour is one of the most anticipated tours of 2025.
Yep.
And even before it started, it already created quite a lot of speculations and possibly misunderstandings among the Iron Maiden community.
Yes, that's true.
So today, let's take a look at some of the songs Iron Maiden will most likely perform at their Run For Your Lives tour, including the obvious ones and the ones which may come as a huge surprise to Iron Maiden fans. Here you go. Real quick before we start, as always, please do not hesitate to comment on anything you hear or see in this video, and especially if you disagree with me, because the whole point of our Up the Irons series, in which we explore everything related to Iron Maiden, is of course to start a conversation. But alright, let's do it! An important thing to say about Run For Your Lives tour is that right from its announcement, many Iron Maiden fans, including myself at first, started to somewhat misinterpret its purpose, and what is most importantly, misinterpret what Iron Maiden themselves said about it, with many thinking that Run For Your Lives tour will be a tour of deep cuts, but just for the early Iron Maiden days. Because, I mean, that's exactly what Bruce Dickinson said in that interview, right? Well, except that what he actually said was,
so for those of you who have bought tickets, which is like all of you, it's going to be really, really cool. I'm really looking forward to it. We're going to be doing stuff we've never ever done before.
And I believe it's fair to assume that when Bruce Dickinson talks about things they never did before, he mostly means production and the show itself, rather than the songs Iron Maiden will play. And in addition, unlike what many quoted quite wrongly, in his initial statement about Run For Your Lives tour, the band's manager Rod Smallwood, talking about the setlist and the rare songs in it, Rod actually said that the band will play some songs they haven't played in years and will most likely never play again in the future, saying nothing about the songs Iron Maiden never played before, which of course does not mean there won't be any in the setlist, of which we will talk in a moment.
And it'll be a set list for the ages.
Yet nevertheless, I actually do believe that Iron Maiden will perform at least one song from each of their first 9 records, including No Prayer for the Dying, which the band has ignored for quite a while now, and Somewhere in Time, which the band gave plenty of attention in the last couple of years. And in addition to everything, I think, or rather hope, that there is a very high chance that we will hear something more than the title track from the last album they will cover from their catalog. But anyways, now that the foundations and the groundwork of our assumptions, because yes, everything we talk about in this video is assumptions, is laid out, let's see which of the songs from each of those albums Iron Maiden might play this year. Talking about the journey Iron Maiden will take us in their setlist, I think that there is a very, very high chance that the band will not start with their debut album, but rather with something that came before it, and more specifically the first ever single officially released by Iron Maiden in February of 1980. As we all know that this song has been a closer for Iron Maiden setlist for many, many years, and I believe it will be not only more than appropriate, but also very symbolic to do it once again on a tour celebrating the band's 50th anniversary. Oh, in addition to everything, if we take a look at the tour announcement video, it literally takes place in the Runnin' Free cover setting. And continuing the topic of the tour announcement video, I think it is very fair to assume that we will also finally get to hear Phantom of the Opera, the first Iron Maiden epic, once again, as this is actually the song which Iron Maiden chose as the main soundtrack for Run For Your Lives tour. And I don't believe that there was even one tour when they did something similar and have not played that song live later on. And of course, in addition to everything, in order to close the very early days of Iron Maiden, we kinda have to point out that Iron Maiden will most likely play the song Iron Maiden from the album Iron Maiden. And I'll actually give you a little secret and inside information. that they will most likely do it right before the encore. Yeah, it's mind-blowing, I know. By the way, wouldn't it be hilarious if after this Iron Maiden, for the very first time ever, would not perform the song Iron Maiden at their live show? Yeah, I think there is literally zero chance of it happening. Guys, here real quick, I just want to say that this channel exists simply because of my enthusiasm and my love for Iron Maiden and our favorite heavy metal band. So if you'd like to support and represent the show at your next Iron Maiden concert by rocking some Metal Pilgrim merch, we have a lot of different designs, including some that are actually inspired by Eddie himself. I'll be more than happy to send it pretty much anywhere across the world. And just in case if you decide to do that, thank you guys so much, because it does help me out quite a lot. And since we're having a little break here, I also wanted to point out that only around 30% of the people who watch my videos are actually subscribed to the Metal Pilgrim channel. So if you're not one of them, I'll be very happy if you would consider doing it right now. Let's continue building this amazing heavy metal community together. Talking about the band's second album, Killers, which, by the way, was vastly ignored by Iron Maiden in the recent years, and the last time a song from it has been performed live was all the way at the Book of Souls tour. And even then, Wrathchild has been played live only at 45 out of the 117 shows.
It's just outrageous.
And thus I really hope that either Wrathchild, or even more so, the Killers title track, which, are you ready? Has not been performed live by the band since 1999, will finally sound live from the stage. Because if you ask me, it simply is a crime against humanity that it has been this long. But in addition to everything, we have to remember that Run For Your Lives is the tour to celebrate the band's 50th anniversary. And that means that it is the tour to celebrate everyone who has been a part of this band over that time. And given the fact that last year we sadly lost the band's first studio vocalist, Paul Di'Anno, I think it will be more than fair that the band would pay tribute to the legendary Wrathchild at their Run For Your Lives tour. And if they don't do it with an energetic Wrathchild, I think the most emotional way to pay tribute to Paul would be with the songs Prodigal Son or Remember Tomorrow. And I'm more than sure that Iron Maiden fans would love to support Steve Harris and the boys in doing that. When it comes to the band's groundbreaking Number of the Beast, I think that there will be little to no surprises here. Meaning that we most likely will not hear Invaders or Gangland. And we definitely won't hear The Prisoner. Well, you know why. And that means that after a rather short break of the Huge Past tour, Iron Maiden will most likely once again perform the title track from their third studio album, and will most definitely play Run to the Hills. Well, because it's literally in the tour's title! But in addition to that, I think that there is a high chance that we will hear either Hallowed Be Thy Name or a Per cut from Number of the Beast, which isn't really a deep cut. People love that song, yet which hasn't been performed live since 1993. Because come on, it's a tour celebrating the band's early days, and you cannot really talk about Iron Maiden's early days without Charlotte the Harlot. Talking about peace of mind, I would like to start by mentioning a song which I really hope the band will not play. And that one, of course, being Where Eagles Dare. Because this was the track which introduced Nico McBrain to Iron Maiden. And I will say that to this very day, it's very emotional for me to discuss any news related to Nick McBrain when it comes to Iron Maiden, and especially when it comes to Run For Your Lives tour, as it will be rather weird I can't even imagine how weird it will be to be seeing Iron Maiden without the legendary drummer behind the kit. And as much as I wish all the best to Simon Dawson, honestly I do, and once again, welcome to the family, Simon, I just don't think that it would be appropriate to play Where Eagles Dare, when we also how emotional Nick McBrain was just talking about not going on the road with the band he gave 42 years of his life to. So yeah, as much as I love that track, I hope that Iron Maiden will exclude it from their 50th anniversary celebration. Unless, of course, they do it in a very interesting way, specifically to honor Nico. And now talking about the songs Iron Maiden might perform. In my initial reaction, I actually thought that this might be one of the first tours in Iron Maiden history since the release of this album that Iron Maiden will not perform The Trooper. I know it's a bold statement, but I specifically thought so because it was one of the only classic Iron Maiden songs which the band did play during their The Future Past tour. And in all honesty, it would make quite a lot of sense for them to not perform it live for once and instead concentrate on something like Die With Your Boots On, which I'm more than sure Iron Maiden fans would abso-freaking-lutely love to hear live. But the more I thought about it and the more interviews started pouring in, the more I realized that The Trooper is, in fact, one of the greatest and definitely one of the most popular songs Iron Maiden have ever written in their career. And it would simply not be fair to exclude it from celebrating the band's milestone of their 50th anniversary. So yeah, now I think that the band will still play it live.
You fire musket, but I'll run you through. So when you're waiting for the next attack, you better stand, there's no turning back.
And in addition to that, I kinda have a feeling that it will be Peace of Mind, from which Iron Maiden will play a couple of deep cuts. Possibly even to Tame a Land, to tie with the hype around the Dune movies, which recently came out, which we all know the band has not performed live for gazillion years, despite the fans begging the band to do so. And in addition to that, if you stare at the Run For Your Lives poster long enough, like I did,
I've looked at this for 5 hours now. It's beautiful.
you'll see that in the background behind Eddie, there is a tiny Japanese building, which is rather weird because Iron Maiden specifically said the first 9 albums only, which of course means no Senjutsu. But in reality, Iron Maiden did write songs related to Japan long before Senjutsu. And who knows, maybe it will be in 2025, when after more than 40 years of the fans begging the band to do so, one particular song from Peace of Mind will finally become something more than just a beer title. Last year marked 40 years since the release of Power Slave, which the band did not really celebrate on the road at all, and thus it would be rather good time to do so in 2025. Performing, first of all, the legendary Aces High, which in my opinion is just simply very suited to the times we all sadly live in. In addition to that, if we take a look at the band's setlist from the past several years, we will see that one of their biggest hits ever, 2 Minutes to Midnight, has actually, and I couldn't believe it myself, been not performed live in 6 years now, which in my opinion is more than enough of reason to include it on the band's 50th anniversary tour as well. And the last but definitely not the least from Peace of Mind is a song which once again, after a rather long break, may pick up a vacant spot of an epic at an Iron Maiden show, with Bruce Dickinson giving the crowd a lesson of what not to do when a bird craps on you. Well, the next is the album which Iron Maiden definitely gave plenty of attention in the last couple of years, and nevertheless, I think there will be at least one song from it included in the Run For Your Life setlist. Although, I'll be very honest with you, despite Hearing Wasted Years being one of the highlights of my Future Past tour experience, I really hope it won't be it, and I really hope it won't be either of the songs Iron Maiden did perform in 2023 and 2024. And instead, Iron Maiden will finally give their fans what they've been asking for so many years now, and for a change, perform Deja Vu, which in my opinion is once again a crime against humanity that this song has not been performed live before. Seventh Son of a Seventh Son is the album which Iron Maiden has given plenty of attention throughout the years. Although, I actually didn't. I've been meaning to release an episode about it and the conceptuality of it for several months now. So please let me know in the comments whether you would like me to do a special one on Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. And overall, just write a comment under this video. It really helps push it to more people. But anyways, although I personally believe that the biggest chance for us is most likely to hear some of the biggest hits from Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, those being The Evil That Men Do or The Clairvoyant, if you ask me, I would simply freak out if Iron Maiden would perform the song they haven't performed live since 1988, as this would be one of the most emotionally charged moments of the show for me personally. And if not, another song I would really hope for from this album would be Moonchild, which, although Iron Maiden did perform before, in my opinion is overall one of the most underappreciated tracks and hits Iron Maiden have ever written, and it definitely deserves way more attention, especially by being performed live. And here we come to the album, which those who are not new to our Up the Iron series know how I feel about. And once again, it's not really a bad album, it's just, in my opinion, it's definitely the weakest out of the first 9 Iron Maiden records.
It's just outrageous.
And yet, nevertheless, it does have some incredible songs, which I think many Iron Maiden fans would love to hear. Yet, of course, given the competition, and especially with the other records in the setlist, I don't think that it will feature any of the deep cuts from the band's 8th studio record. And that means that most likely we will hear either Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter or Tail Gunner from it, with the latter one being in the setlist only if Aces High is not already in it. And thus we come to the last album, which will be featured on the band's Run For Your Lives tour. And here's the thing, I think pretty much every diehard Iron Maiden fan has heard a rumor that the legendary Dave Murray simply does not want to play an Iron Maiden show without Fear of the Dark in its setlist. And here's the thing. And here I have to be extremely honest with you. Yes, Fear of the Dark is possibly the most overplayed Iron Maiden song in their entire catalog. And yet, nevertheless, it is their biggest hit ever. And it is an incredible song. And we can talk all we want about how we'd rather hear something else at their live show, but the truth is that feeling simply disappears when you're standing in a crowd and you suddenly hear this being played from the stage. And so yes, I don't think that the Run For Your Lives tour will be an exceptional tour in a way that it will not feature Fear of the Dark. But at the same time, I do think, or rather do hope, that it will also feature one more song from this album. And while for me one of the best songs from Fear of the Dark, in addition to the title track, is Judas Be My Guide, and I would simply freak out if I hear it live, I think it would be very appropriate for Iron Maiden to perform Be Quick or Be Dead live on that tour, as a way of introducing and welcoming Simon Dawson into the family, and thus it would be even cooler if they do it as an opening track on that setlist. Iron Maiden's average setlist of the past years consists roughly of 15 to 16 songs. Yet when it comes to Run For Your Lives tour, I think they might stretch it to up to 17 songs. First of all, because, well, it's an extraordinary tour, even if they do perform Fear of the Dark in it, and they have to give their fans something extra special for it. But in addition to that, it is a tour concentrating on the band's earlier material, and as we all know, it is slightly shorter in length compared to the songs they started writing after Bruce Dickinson returned to the band. And therefore they simply can squeeze in more tracks into the same run in time. And given everything we just spoke of, I think my tentative Run For Your Lives setlist prediction would look something like this. Although I guess there is a higher chance they will most likely play something like this. Yet, just as I said when it came to the Future Past tour, I'll be more than happy to be absolutely wrong and surprised and issue a very special video saying about how foolish I was with this set of songs.
When you're waiting for the next attack, you better stand, there's no turning back.
But anyways, which songs do you think Iron Maiden will perform at the Run For Your Lives tour, and which ones are you mostly excited about and really hope for the band to perform live? Please let us know in the comments, because the thing is that Run For Your Lives tour will be an absolutely incredible tour, and I think we all can kinda feel it, and we will definitely talk quite a lot about it as the time comes. But for now, thank you so much for watching this video, guys, and we will prevail. Slava Ukraini!